This is a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network. You've made the commitment.
You caught the vision.
You want your family to serve God.
But sometimes it's hard to put feet on that vision. Hey, Hal, do visions have feet?
Shh. How do you get from principle to practice?
What do you need to know about the issues affecting your family?
How do you apply God's Word in the 21st century?
Let's talk about it.
This is Making Biblical Family Life Practical with Hal and Melanie Young. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Making Biblical Family Life Practical. This is Hal.
And I'm Melanie.
And we want to thank you for joining us this fine Monday evening if you're joining us live. We're also simulcasting on Periscope for the first time. A grand experiment. We'll see how that goes. But
yeah, I've been periscoping for a while, but this is the first time we've done a radio show live.
That's right. So we just like to blanket the airwaves and consume all of the bandwidth, and hopefully we'll provide you with some encouragement and a little bit of entertainment perhaps, and a few thought-provoking ideas in the next half hour. So today we're going to be talking about the subject of homeschooling high school. And, you know, I look back when we started homeschooling that, you know, my initial thought was, well, we'll do this when our kids are in elementary school, but maybe when they're in the 8th grade, we'll look at a Christian school or something. What do you think?
Yeah, and I don't know. I was thinking we would homeschool high school, but I was scared. But I really didn't get scared till I got into like the 7th or 8th grade.
Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty common thing.
Yeah,
you know?
Because, you know, I'm thinking, okay, what about the subjects I wasn't so great at? What about subjects I just didn't like? You know, how can I manage this? And, yeah, there's answers for all that.
Mm-hmm.
I think what scares people is, you know, they barely passed algebra the first time, or calculus, or whatever level it was that hit you, or literature, and they're thinking, okay, so how am I going to teach this to my kids? I think that it's easier than it sounds.
Well, it is, because, you know, now this is, how many years have we been homeschooling?
21?
21 years?
I think so.
Okay. So 21 years down this journey, we have graduated 3 already, okay? And so they survived it. We survived it. Our kids didn't turn out any weirder than us. And they've all gone to college, and they've gone on scholarships. So it must have worked.
They're pretty nice people. I like them.
That's the important thing. Not just they're nice people, but they're serving God.
Yeah, they love the Lord.
They're walking with the Lord. They've stood for the Lord on their campuses when it's been a challenge. And so, you know, we're very thankful for the course that we took, you know, even with the misgivings in those early years. And so we want to talk about homeschooling high school and also share with you a special opportunity that's coming up. We'll tell you about that in a while, so stick with us. Okay.
Let's talk a bit about what scares people about homeschooling high school, and then let's talk about the advantages of homeschooling high school. Or should we reverse that? What do you think?
Well, okay. I
Clearly,
think
we don't script this enough. Right?
No. Okay. This is live. This is real. We are real people. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, why the. Yes, what are we pointing at?
I want you to look down here at the camera
there.
instead up there at the ceiling.
Well, I'm not looking at the ceiling. I'm looking at the screen over here, but that's okay.
Don't look at the screen. Look down here. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Any rate, yeah. Okay, so those of you who are just listening to the podcast, you're getting the dark side of broadcasting video. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna look at this screen over here and just pretend that I can see my note. Oh, I can see them over that way. Any rate, so let's acknowledge that there are some concerns about homeschooling through those high school years. You know, think about your own years in high school. What was on your mind? Well, I know it was on my mind. You know,
guys,
girls. Okay. Yeah. You know, are you wearing the right shoes? Does she like me or not?
Is somebody going to make fun of me?
Yeah.
You know, what is, you know, I think.
And you know what? We didn't provide our children with things like bad peer pressure and a lot of, you know, half-baked romance and stuff like that. We just provided our kids with high school, didn't we?
You know, I think that what's scary is you look at things like chemistry and literature and upper-level math, and you think, I don't think I can do that. And I think
But you did it once before.
Well, and I think it's important to remember it's going to be easier now, because you're bringing an adult's mind to it.
Right.
And this time you're not distracted by what shoes you have on and what the girl next door is thinking. And you've just redone every level of math or whatever it is that scares you leading up to that. Katie, you can't play with that here, honey bunch. Okay, so yeah, the kids are here. It's going to be a lot easier. You've redone before you get to geometry. You've redone algebra 1, and you've redone 8th grade math and 7th grade math and 6th grade math and 5th grade math and 4th grade math, all the way down. Sometimes several times, and it's just going to be a lot easier.
Right.
And there's a lot of help available.
There's so much, and wasn't there when we started this journey?
Well, some of it was.
Some of it was, but you know what? Were we high schooling? Was the internet a thing when we first started high schooling homeschool?
Yeah.
Homeschooling high school?
Yeah.
Was it? Okay. But it was a new thing.
It wasn't it wasn't like it is now, but back then. Okay, so what options do you have? You can hire a tutor.
Right.
You can get involved in a co-op where you can share information with each other.
And those are live analog things and don't require any sort of connection.
Right.
Except a personal one.
Yeah. You can get classes locally. We've done that. You can do online classes. We've done that. We've used Pennsylvania Homeschoolers. We've used David Vogel's Living the Answer. I love these classes.
We've used Apologia Academy. And all of those have been good.
All of those have been terrific. You can get the help you need. And in fact, like chemistry, there's a chemistry curriculum written especially for homeschoolers that, you don't have to have a chemistry degree to teach chemistry.
Well, that's one of the things, that I really like about, can I say the brand name?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Our favorite science.
Oh, yeah. Landry Academies.
Landry Academy. Yes, we
have
done some things with Landry as well. But, like Apologia Science is written to the student. It's not written with the idea that, there's going to be a professor leading the student through the hard parts.
So it explains things a lot more clearly.
It does.
Yeah, and also the majority of the things you need for labs are things you can find right in your household. But you know what? Don't do that. Order the kit. Okay, order a science lab kit to go with it. I like Lighthouse Science and more.
That's good, yeah. What's their website?
I will look it up while we talk.
Look it up, yeah. Lighthouse Science. But, yeah.
I like... Because if you have the kit, you're a whole lot more likely to do the experiments because everything's right there.
Yeah, this is hard-won experience, okay?
Oh, no kidding.
We have learned that, yes, you can save a few dollars today.
Lighthouse-educational.com.
Lighthouse-educational.com. Okay.
Yeah, they're friends of ours and fantastic science kits.
Yes, we received no compensation for mentioning that.
No.
That's all. That's just purely our own recommendation.
But yeah, if you order the kit, then whenever it's convenient to do the labs, you've got what you need. Yeah, and that is so important, and it will make sure you actually do the labs instead of just talk about doing the labs or plan doing the labs, that you actually do the labs.
It took me so many years to realize that your time and my time too have a value.
No kidding.
And that sometimes saving $20 by doing something myself, it was far, far outweighed by the amount of time it took out of my schedule.
Oh, I'll give you another free tip.
Yeah.
When it comes to math, buy the solutions manual. Okay? Now, I
know. Yeah, you can do that.
The answers come in a little thin book, and the solutions manual might be $30. But let me tell you, the day will come when you would pay twice that to know the answer to these problems instead of trying to figure out Algebra 2 all over again. This is how you use it, okay? So your kid comes to you with Algebra 2 question, and you look at it and you think, I can't remember that stuff. And so you say, son, this is a doable problem, but let me see how Mr. Saxon wants you to do that. And you get your solutions manual and you turn to it, and the lights come on. He tells you exactly how to do the problem. It will save your life, save your dignity as a homeschool mom. Get the solutions manual. Our friends that sell curriculum say nobody buys a solutions manual. It's foolish. Buy the solutions manual.
Yeah, go ahead. Because your time and your stress are very, very valuable. So
I think so. It's doing the classes. Get help. Okay.
Yeah.
Get a class that tells them exactly what to do. Get books that are easy to use. Use online classes. Use classes you go to. Get help in the subjects you need help.
And you know what? Use the same kind of wisdom that you recommend even for the elementary grades, that make the extra investment in the things that you are uncomfortable with.
Oh, yeah.
The ones that you love. If you love art, you're going to do art.
You
if
don't
you've got
need
nothing
art curriculum.
you got a box of crayons and a paper bag, you're going to do art. But if you really, really, really are uncertain about teaching science, then spend the extra money, get the extra resources, buy the kit, get the solutions, man, do whatever, because that's where you need the help.
Yeah, so spend your money in the subjects that you're uncomfortable with. I think another thing that frightens people a lot is producing a transcript. I hear people asking a lot of questions. Do my kids need an accredited diploma? No. We've sent several kids to college. We've been on scholarship committees that have looked at hundreds of homeschool kids.
The important thing we found with transcripts is not whether there's a sticker or a seal or somebody with letters after their name signed it. What's important is that the information is all there, because admissions officers are receiving just thousands of these things. They're coming in by email. They're just being swamped by them. And then if you're trying to get to college with this transcript, you need an admission officer to be able to scan down it and say, oh, okay, yeah, he's got all his English, he's got all his math. Oh, look, he did some extra here. And it's really important to get the format that they're looking for.
Yes, to make it simple, one page, and list the subject titles in the way they're used to seeing them.
Yeah.
Okay? Because what they want to see is they want to see something they understand. Mm-hmm. And so you might want to give them paragraphs explaining all you want to do because you're afraid they're not going to, take you seriously. Mm-hmm. But what they want to know is did the kid have 4 Englishes? Okay.
Yeah, so because you know what? If they take the ACT or the SAT, you've already got something that says, hey, this kid knows stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to explain what English 2 meant to you. If they take the college entrance exams and they say, look, he's got a really good verbal score, then I guess he knows his English.
And there's very few exceptions to that.
Right.
If you have an athlete, like we have a student athlete who's a senior this year, he plays football and he's being recruited to play college football.
Right.
If you want NCAA eligibility, then you're going to have to explain everything in great detail for them. But they have their own forms and the way they want you to do that. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about the transcripts. I'll tell you what, though. We are going to give you some help for transcripts. We are co-hosting with Lee Benz, the Homescholar, Thursday night.
This Thursday night. September 17th.
Right? A webinar that's going to show you exactly how to do all this, okay? Mm-hmm. And she's going to go into great detail. So we're not going to go into great detail about transcripts tonight, but Lee will help you with this and help you figure this out. And so, Hal, have you got a link for them?
Well, let me tell you how to get to this. Okay, this is really important. It's a free webinar. It's 90 minutes. We listened to it last year, and let me tell you, it is fantastic. It is well worth the 90 minutes you invest in. You're not going to cost you a cent. Yeah. But if you want to register for this thing, you need to pre-register, so they'll send you the login information. Okay. The way to get that information is go to our website, raisingrealmen.com, and then go to the upper right-hand corner, and you'll see a little search box. Okay. Search on Lee's name, B-I-N-Z, Benz. Okay. Just search on Benz, and you'll see the first thing that comes up is this page that says Homeschooling High School with Lee Benz.
I'll try to put an ad on the page that they can click onto that to make that easier.
That would be good.
Do that after the show tonight.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Remember, Lee Benz, B-I-N-Z.
Lee is the expert on high school grade credits and transcripts, so you want to listen to that Thursday night. Anyway, transcripts, courses, you can do this. Mm-hmm. What other things, though, do I think people don't know about homeschooling high school is most people don't understand how important it is.
Well, this is the thing. And you've heard us say this before, and we'll say it again. Homeschooling really is kind of misnamed because for the Christian family, it's not so much the school aspect as the time and the opportunity to disciple your children. Okay, it's discipleship, and when you have poured yourself into building the spiritual life of this young child until they get in the 8th grade, and then you say, but now I'm going to let a randomly selected teacher in the government's public school system, which is committed to a secular viewpoint, unless we're teaching them the secrets of Islam, then you know what? Are you cashing in on that first 8 years investment or not?
Well, see, and the deal is that kids are their most vulnerable to peer pressure from right before they go through puberty through those high school years.
Any year ending in the word teen.
18, 19, not so much.
Right.
But 11 to 17, kids are very susceptible to peer pressure.
Right.
Their bodies are changing. They feel awkward. They're having a lot of spiritual doubts. And it is so important to stay the course through those years because your kids really need you to be there for them during that time. The question is, who's going to influence them the most? Yeah. And
because they're going to have those doubts, they're going to have those questions, they're going to have those moments of uncertainty or fear or self-doubt or whatever it is. Those will happen.
And you want to be there when they happen.
And if they're in a school, even if it's a fantastic school, even a good Christian school, those things are going to happen. And who knows? It's going to be between classes. It's going to be in the locker room. It's going to be out in lunch break.
I was thinking about that. We've talked about that survey that was done earlier this year.
The Gen 2 study.
Yeah, with almost 10,000 kids who were raised in Christian homes from all kinds of educational backgrounds.
Yeah.
The kids that kept their faith, they looked at adults and who were raised in Christian homes, and the ones that kept their faith, homeschoolers were between like 2.3 and 2.9 times as likely to keep the faith as those who were public schooled or Christian schooled.
And I think that's the key. It's not because your parents are brilliant, but it's because you have a relationship with your parents and the kids.
And that relationship is critically important to your soul.
Right, it is. And so that's enough right there. That should say right now we're going to do whatever it takes to teach our kid through high school because we want to be there for those critical teenage issues that are going to come up.
There's some advantages for our kids too, though. Because
better than that?
Well, not better than the eternal.
But still.
There's
more.
Well, like the freedom.
Yeah.
Both freedom to follow their interest and do what they really need to do to prepare for life.
Yeah.
And time freedom. Because, if they're going to school all day, they're gone for 8 hours, and they come home and they have 2 to 3 hours of homework, which they're going to have at their college prep.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of extra time. And if you've got an athlete like us, there's even less. Versus our kids have found the time to run businesses and, to get in, to have freelance jobs.
And to go deeper into things that they are interested in, to take extra classes or to investigate things on their own.
Now, why does it take so much less time?
It's because it's a one-on-one tutorial method, and you're not sitting there trying to teach to the center of a bell curve, meaning that, I can't leave any child behind, but what about the ones that are ahead? The ones that are ahead are not getting it. They're not being challenged. They're not being pushed. They're not getting the opportunity to go forward. They're being held back.
And so instead, you can meet that kid where they are. If they need extra help in a subject, I think about one of our sons who's severely dyslexic. His freshman, sophomore year, he needed a lot of extra help.
Yep.
Now he's a senior. He needs very little extra help. But we were able to keep him on course during that time. They needed help. On the other hand, some of our kids have really needed to be academically challenged. One of our kids took 11 AP exams.
Which is just awesome.
Yeah. I mean, there's hardly a school in the country that you could do that, but he was able to do it.
We ought to talk about that another time.
Yeah.
But the point being, he had that opportunity.
You can give each child what they need.
Right.
And and one thing I really like too is that not only can you give each child what they need, but you don't have to stress out about it. This is what I didn't understand about homeschooling high school. Mm-hmm. As your kids get older, and particularly your boys, they're going to become so much more self-directed. You think, how in the world can I homeschool high school when I am trying to teach a child to read, which I am this year, and trying to teach another child how to multiply and divide, and trying to teach another child to at least get any schoolwork done because they're in that fuzzy-brained preteen years. Well, it's amazing, but they actually grow up. They get to where they will actually take charge of their own work. And I find that really the high schoolers are less trouble than the preteens.
Right.
Because because it's like they wake up and say, hello, whoa, this is my life. And I've got to figure out you mean I've got to get into college? I've got to get a job. I better get busy. And they start saying things like, Mom, can you spend some time with me on chemistry? We're not spending enough time on chemistry.
I never said that to a high school teacher.
Be still my beating heart. Love it.
And I don't remember crossing that kind of threshold when I was in high school. I mean, I did well in high school, but I've seen with each of our guys that they get to a point, and it's usually about the same point with our fellas. They get to a point where they suddenly say, "Oh, wait a minute. I better. Oh,
this is about me.
I need this." You know, and it's not just a matter of, well, I've got to do this and fill in the boxes so I can get the piece of paper and I'll, wear the funny hat and all that. No, but I mean, they actually say, wait a minute, there's a real life out there, and I better fill up my toolbox or else I'm not going to be prepared.
Yeah, and they start taking charge of their own education. And that's so exciting to me. It usually happens around 15 with our kids. 15, sometimes bordering on 16.
Yeah.
It's like they wake up and suddenly realize it's their life and they start taking charge, and school becomes so much easier.
Well, you know what? That's because they get to have one-on-one conversations with their teacher every day who says things like, you know what? I already had algebra.
Yeah.
I've already learned algebra. I don't need to learn algebra. This is your turn.
Yeah.
This is for you. This is your opportunity to learn algebra, and you better get it or you'll regret it. Because you were going to have to get it eventually.
So advantages of homeschooling high school.
Okay.
You can individualize it to the kid.
Right.
Give them what they need. And that can be pretty exciting too, because if they have a special interest, they can run with it.
That's right.
We've had kids start businesses. We've had, them become musicians that sing in coffee shops and stuff. Just whatever they're interested in, they've got time. Because the tutorial method is so much more efficient that they have way more time, free time.
So you can individualize their educational experience.
You can give them opportunities that may not be available in your local high school.
And it may be educational, it may be extracurriculator, it may be vocational.
Yeah, they can do apprenticeships.
Missional. It gives them, sky's the limit. It's all it's all a matter of your imagination and what you can put together, what you can find available.
We have a kid who worked in China one summer.
Yeah.
And I don't think I don't think he would have been ready to do that if he hadn't been homeschooled, because he'd just been prepared. And we were able to do things like study Mandarin Chinese, which is not available in local Johnston County, North Carolina.
Yeah, little rural North Carolina doesn't generally have Chinese classes.
Yeah.
But our homeschool does.
Yeah, so you can individualize. They have more free time. You can give them things that aren't available in your area. Most importantly, you can disciple them. And let me tell you something. The years go by quickly. It's going to be such a short time before those kids leave home. You can hardly imagine it. It seems like just yesterday that these guys were just little. And now, 3 of ours have gone off into college and beyond. And these years are really critical to their spiritual and emotional and intellectual development. What better time to have them with you? And
honestly,
that doesn't mean alone. Our kids have lots of friends. They go contra dancing with their friends. They have movie nights. They have activities and things that they do with other kids. But you know what? We're there to be an influence. We're there to talk it through. We're there to have discussions with them. And I think you'll be really glad of that when they go off to college.
Yep. Well, let's talk a little bit more about this webinar, this seminar, this opportunity coming up this week, September 17th. That's Thursday night. And it is going to be at, let me get the time down here. I think it's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern time, okay? Yeah. And it's going to be live. But let me tell you, this is a really good program. Just a couple of bullet points. Lee Benz is going to be talking about the 5 surefire ways to determine high school credit, how to let go of grade anxiety. Would you like to be free from grade anxiety? Yes, I'm sure you would. The one factor that gives you absolute freedom in your high school, and how you as the homeschool parent can help colleges with their nightmare scenario, and how helping them will help you.
And we found that. Colleges recruit homeschool students. In fact, many colleges have an admissions officer whose job is to recruit homeschoolers.
Did I mention that all 3 of ours have gone with academic scholarships?
Yeah. So if you're worried about transcripts, join us and Lee Benz, the home scholar, on Thursday night. It's free, okay? Doesn't cost anything.
Totally free. But you got to sign up. You got to sign up first. So that they will send you the login codes. And by the way, they're going to be giving away some free resources during the program too.
Oh yeah, Lee did some cool stuff last time.
They have some neat stuff. They're going to be giving you some downloadable forms and things like that. That'll be that'll be a big help. So you do want to do this. Now, you want to find it, go to our website, www.raisingrealmen.com, and then go to the search box and enter the word B-I-N-Z, Benz. Yeah. And Lee Benz, the article that Lee Benz gave us and all of this information is going to show up right there to let you log into this, or at least let you register so you can log in.
So join us for that. Somebody just said something I think is really important. They said they credit the great relationship that they have with their mom due to homeschooling high school, and I think that's so true. When we look at the research of what makes the biggest difference in whether kids who grew up in Christian homes grasp the faith as their own and serve the Lord through adulthood or not, it's one of the biggest factors is, do they have a good relationship with a Christian mom or Christian dad?
Well, and when you think about it, what is the experience of going to an institution where you're going to spend most of your waking hours under the leadership and the instruction of somebody else? You're going to form your own little community. It serves to separate the child from their family life.
Yeah.
And how can it help but weaken the family relationships, because you've got all of these other people competing for your attention and your loyalty. And so, that's something you seriously have to consider.
And we have found that a good time homeschooling high school and preparing our kids intentionally for adulthood, helping them to become increasingly independent, to give them increasingly more responsibility, then by the time they're 18, they're ready to move off into the world and to stand alone for Christ and to fight those battles. Yep. And see, that's what we want. We want our kids not to be afraid of the world, but to be ready to fight those battles and stand true for Jesus Christ.
And boy, does the kingdom need those warriors now.
Boy, they really do.
Okay.
And so
let's just say, if you've got concerns, anxiety about teaching high school to your homeschoolers,
join us Thursday.
But you know what? You can do it.
You can do
this. You would be amazed at how well it comes together.
And let me tell you, we've done it through some tough circumstances. Hal with stage 4 cancer, a baby that had a life-threatening heart condition, spent weeks in ICU.
Yeah, job changes, starting a business, all sorts of things.
Traveling all over the country speaking.
Yeah.
We spoke at 12 conferences this spring.
Speaking of that, we're going to be speaking a couple of places coming up in the next few weeks, all right? If you are in Texas, if you are anywhere in the Dallas area, we're going to be at Valley View, Texas, which is near Gainesville, okay? That's going to be on Thursday the 24th. We're going to be at Cross Timbers Church at 7 p.m. in Valley View, Texas. Then we're going to be... they're going to be at a leadership conference, but then
TGK Baptist Church in
Fort Mill,
South Carolina.
That's in the greater Charlotte area.
Yep.
And we're going to be doing a family conference there the weekend of
October 9th and 10th.
October 9th and 10th, and I'm going to be preaching the service on October 11th.
Cool.
Too.
Then I'm going to be speaking at the 2-to-1 Blogger Conference, which is in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, Outer Banks, CA, wonderful place.
Yep.
On October 16th and 17th. And listen, we do have some openings this fall if you want us to come speak to your church or your support group, or you want a Raising Real Men weekend or a marriage retreat weekend. Get in touch with us. We'd love to talk to you guys.
Just email us info@raisingrealmen.com and just put the word speaking in the subject line, and it'll light up like Christmas on our email box.
Yeah.
Okay.
Check us out at raisingrealmen.com and on Facebook at facebook.com/raisingrealmen. It's been great talking to you guys. We are out of time.
We are out of time, so we just want to say thank you for spending some time with us today. There's many things you could do with your time, and we appreciate that you invested some with us. We hope it's been encouraging, but we hope you'll join us again next week, or on iTunes, or at the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network site, which you can also reach by going to halandmelanie.com/radio. Thanks so much.
We have the sweetest friends in the world.
We do, don't we?
It's so good talking to you guys.
Okay.
Hal, play the outro music so we can close out our radio show.
Yeah, let's go over here, because the music just didn't come across earlier. We'll see if it comes out this time. Let's go over here and grab that real
guys,
quick.
It's been great talking to you, and I think this worked pretty well to Periscope and do radio. A little confusing at first, trying to get all the technology to work together, but I think we've got it. So see you next time. Tell folks about this Periscope, because I think a lot of people are worried about homeschooling high school. They don't need to be. It's fun. It's great. It's easier than you think. Now take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. You've been listening to Making Biblical Family Life Practical with Hal and Melanie Young. If you found this program interesting, challenging, and encouraging, why not join us on the web at halandmelanie.com. That's HALANDMELANIE.com. Or follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook at Facebook/HalAndMelanie or Facebook.com/RaisingRealMen. This program is a production of the Ultimate Homeschool Radio Network. Join us next week when we'll be back to talk about making biblical family life practical. Until then, thank you and God bless you for listening.